Elon Musk's journey to becoming one of the wealthiest individuals on Earth wasn't a straight road paved with success. It was a high-stakes gamble, a story of obsession, risk, and near bankruptcy before a miraculous turnaround. At the center of it all was Tesla and SpaceX, two companies that nearly collapsed before changing the world. Born in South Africa in 1971, Musk was a curious child who loved books and computers. He taught himself programming at an early age, selling his first game, Blaster, at just 12. But young Elon had bigger ambitions. He wanted to escape the limitations of his homeland and make a difference in the world. In 1995, he moved to the US and briefly enrolled at Stanford University for a PhD in energy physics. However, the internet boom had just begun and Musk saw an opportunity. He dropped out after only 2 days and co-founded Zip2, a software company that helped newspapers create digital maps and business directories. In 1999, he sold Zip2 to Compaq for $307 million, earning $22 million from his share. But Musk wasn't satisfied. He reinvested his money into X.com, an online payment company that would later evolve into PayPal. When eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion in 2002, Musk walked away with $180 million after taxes. For most people, that would be the end of the story, a comfortable retirement and a life of luxury. But Musk wasn't like most people. Rather than securing his fortune, he decided to risk it all on two industries that Wall Street laughed at: electric cars and space travel. After PayPal, Musk had an ambitious vision. He wanted to revolutionize transportation, both on Earth and beyond. He believed the world needed sustainable energy solutions and that humanity had to become a multiplanetary species. Most billionaires would have taken a safe approach, investing a fraction of their wealth while keeping the rest secure. But Musk did the unthinkable. He put nearly everything he had into Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity. At the time, starting an electric car company was seen as financial suicide. No new American car company had succeeded in nearly a century. The giants of the industry, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, laughed at the idea. SpaceX was an even bigger gamble. Private companies had never successfully built orbital rockets. NASA and government agencies dominated space, and people thought a startup launching rockets was a billionaire's fantasy. By 2008, Musk was in serious trouble. He had burned through nearly all his money, and both Tesla and SpaceX were on the brink of collapse. The financial crisis of 2008 made things worse. Investors were fleeing, and Musk had to make a decision: save one company or lose them both. This was the moment that would define Musk's future. Would he fold under pressure or go all in? Elon Musk was all in. Every dollar he had made from PayPal, $180 million after taxes, was now tied up in Tesla and SpaceX. But in 2008, everything started falling apart. First, Tesla was struggling. The company had launched the Tesla Roadster, an ambitious electric sports car that was meant to prove EVs could be exciting. But the production process was riddled with delays and cost overruns. Initially planned to sell at $92,000 per unit, the price had shot up to $109,000, and Tesla was hemorrhaging money. Investors were losing patience. SpaceX was in even deeper trouble. Musk had poured money into developing the Falcon 1, a small, low-cost rocket designed to make spaceflight more affordable. But 3 consecutive launch failures in 2006, 2007, and 2008 had drained SpaceX's resources. Each time, Musk promised the next flight would work. Each time, it failed. The third failure in August 2008 was particularly devastating. The rocket had successfully lifted off, but an engine anomaly caused the second stage to fail, dooming the mission. For any other startup, this would have been the end. Musk himself later admitted, "If we had failed that fourth launch, SpaceX would not be around today." As if things couldn't get worse, the global financial crisis of 2008 sent shockwaves through the economy. Investors panicked, banks collapsed, and funding for risky startups like Tesla dried up. Major automakers were going bankrupt. GM and Chrysler needed government bailouts just to survive. Tesla, too, was days away from death. The company couldn't raise more capital, and suppliers refused to deliver parts unless Tesla paid upfront. Musk was completely out of money. He had already borrowed from friends just to make payroll. The pressure was unbearable. His personal life was crumbling as well. His marriage to Justine Musk, his first wife, ended in divorce that same year. He was sleeping on friends' couches, barely eating, and working 22-hour days trying to keep both companies afloat. For the first time in his life, Elon Musk was truly at risk of losing everything. Then, in December 2008, at the darkest moment, two miracles happened. By December 2008, Elon Musk was hanging by a thread. Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy and SpaceX had just one last chance to prove it could launch a rocket successfully. If the fourth launch failed, it would be the end of SpaceX. With everything at stake, on September 28, 2008, SpaceX launched Falcon 1 Flight 4 from the Kwajalein Atoll in the Pacific Ocean. Everyone at SpaceX held their breath. The rocket took off, cleared the first stage separation, and finally reached orbit successfully. It was a historic moment. SpaceX became the first private company to send a liquid-fueled rocket into orbit. The team erupted in cheers. But while this was an incredible technical achievement, it didn't solve the financial crisis. SpaceX was still broke. Musk described those days as absolute hell. I had to decide between keeping Tesla alive or keeping SpaceX alive. I could have split my remaining money and given each a little, but that would have guaranteed both would fail. Instead, I had to make the hardest decision of my life, where to place the final bet. That final bet came in the form of a last-minute $20 million personal loan from Musk himself to Tesla, just enough to keep the company afloat for a few more weeks. But time was running out. Then, the first miracle happened on Christmas Eve, 2008. NASA announced it was awarding SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to deliver cargo to the International Space Station under the Commercial Resupply Services program. It was a lifeline. NASA's vote of confidence meant SpaceX was no longer a struggling startup, it was now a major player in the aerospace industry. The contract saved SpaceX from bankruptcy just in time. The second miracle came for Tesla. Musk had been desperately searching for funding, and at the last possible moment, in early January 2009, investors led by Daimler agreed to invest $50 million in Tesla, keeping the company alive. Within weeks, Tesla and SpaceX went from the brink of collapse to fully funded and back in the game. Musk had survived the most dangerous gamble of his life. But the real question remained, could Tesla and SpaceX actually become billion-dollar companies? Elon Musk had survived 2008 by the skin of his teeth. But survival wasn't enough now. He had to prove to the world that Tesla and SpaceX weren't just lucky saves, but billion-dollar companies in the making. Tesla's future depended on one thing: the Model S. The Roadster had proven that electric cars could be fast and exciting, but it was a luxury product, not a mass-market vehicle. If Tesla was going to succeed, it needed a car that could compete with BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, a real alternative to gas-powered vehicles. The Model S was that car. It was designed from the ground up to be an all-electric sedan, with cutting-edge battery technology, a sleek design, and software that made it unlike anything on the road. But building a car company was extremely expensive. Factories, supply chains, and production scaling required billions of dollars, money Tesla didn't have. Musk made another high-stakes bet. Instead of relying on traditional dealerships, Tesla would sell cars directly to customers online. It was a radical idea. No major automaker had ever attempted this model. The skeptics laughed. Then, in 2012, Tesla launched the Model S. The car was a massive success. It won Motor Trend's Car of the Year award, received critical acclaim, and most importantly, it proved that electric cars weren't just a niche market, they were the future. Demand for the Model S skyrocketed. Investors took notice. In 2013, Tesla's stock price surged from $30 to over $180 per share, and the company became one of the hottest stocks on Wall Street. But Musk wasn't done. He set his sights on making electric vehicles affordable for everyone, promising that Tesla would eventually launch a mass-market car, the Model 3. While Tesla was taking off, SpaceX was making history. The NASA contract in 2008 had saved the company, but now Musk had to prove SpaceX could actually deliver on its promises. The company successfully launched the Falcon 9 rocket in 2010 and completed its first resupply mission to the International Space Station in 2012. But Musk had even bigger ambitions. He wanted to drastically reduce the cost of space travel. The biggest expense? Rockets. Every time NASA launched a rocket, it was a single-use vehicle, costing hundreds of millions of dollars per flight. Musk's solution? Reusability. SpaceX engineers developed the Falcon 9 with a reusable first stage, something that had never been done before. Many experts doubted it was possible. But in 2015, SpaceX successfully landed a Falcon 9 booster for the first time. It was a game changer. Reusable rockets meant dramatically lower costs, making space travel far more affordable. No one in the aerospace industry had ever done this before. The success of Falcon 9 and reusable rockets made SpaceX the leading space company in the world. Government agencies and private clients rushed to book launches, turning SpaceX into a multi-billion-dollar business. By 2015, both Tesla and SpaceX were thriving. The companies that had nearly collapsed in 2008 were now revolutionizing their industries. But Musk had one more gamble left to play, and it would make him one of the richest men in the world. By 2015, Elon Musk had transformed Tesla and SpaceX from struggling startups into billion-dollar companies. But he wasn't satisfied. He knew that for Tesla to truly succeed, it had to produce an affordable electric car that could sell in the millions. Musk's dream was to make electric cars mainstream. The Tesla Model 3 announced in 2016 was his boldest bet yet. With a starting price of $35,000, it was designed to be Tesla's first mass-market vehicle, directly competing with Toyota, Ford, and Honda. The excitement was unbelievable. When pre-orders opened, Tesla received over 325,000 reservations in just 1 week, generating $14 billion in potential sales, the biggest product launch in automotive history. But there was a huge problem. Tesla wasn't ready for mass production. Musk had promised deliveries would begin in 2017, but Tesla struggled with production hell. Factories weren't ready, assembly lines were chaotic, and suppliers couldn't keep up with demand. Once again, Tesla was running out of money. By mid-2018, the company was burning through $1 billion per quarter and had only weeks of cash left. Musk, desperate to avoid another collapse, slept on the factory floor and personally worked 100-hour weeks to solve production bottlenecks. His efforts paid off. By late 2018, Tesla ramped up Model 3 production, and in 2019 it became the best-selling electric car in the world. Tesla's success sent its stock price soaring. In 2020, Tesla's market value skyrocketed from $100 billion to over $800 billion, making it the most valuable car company in history. At the same time, SpaceX was making history with the Crew Dragon launch, sending astronauts to the International Space Station for the first time as a private company. Investors poured money into Tesla, believing in Musk's vision for electric cars and autonomous driving. By the end of 2021, Musk's net worth had surpassed $300 billion, making him the richest person on the planet. Elon Musk's journey to billionaire status wasn't a straight road to success. He bet everything on Tesla and SpaceX, risked total financial ruin, and fought through failure after failure. But he never quit. His story proves that calculated risks, persistence, and an obsession with solving big problems can lead to historic success. And that is how the biggest gamble of Elon Musk's life made him a billionaire.